Where are we today, Sophie?
Again, can't remember. Undecided on which county. It'll come up later.
Yeah.
But we're at Weeting Castle.
Which isn't technically a castle.
No, it was a manor house.
Yes.
I'm still squinting.
It's being restored. The sun's very bright, by the way, to say.
And also the stone is really bright.
Yeah, and the stone is deceptively, you might understand this for some of you, but it's amazing how that bright white really just sort of plays on the eyes, so therefore the sunglasses are back into action. Yeah. We are not going to spend too long here. Enjoy your history lesson, obviously supplied by Sophie, because there's not really much here. But there's a beautiful, we saw the moated ditch around the side. It's got connections to Castle Acre. If you've seen the previous video, we've done Castle Acre Castle before. And it's also to do with the de Warenne family, who you may have heard of before. They are to do with Surrey. William de Warenne, I think, who was the Earl of Surrey. And obviously a lot of stuff that you've probably seen on my channel is to do with William de Warenne. He owned a lot of stuff, you know.
He did.
Anyway, stay tuned, enjoy your history lesson, we will see you on the other side. Come on!
In the village of Weeting-with-Broomhill, you can find the bright stone and flint ruins of Weeting Castle. Built by Hugh de Play in 1180, it was home of the de Play family until the late 14th century. Despite its name, Weeting Castle was never fortified and was a manor house built as a demonstration of the family wealth. Hugh de Play was a tenant of William de Warenne, the Earl of Surrey, and it is believed that de Play copied the design of his manor from the Warenne family, who had a similar stronghold in the Outer Bailey of Castle Acre. The rectangular moat surrounding Weeting Castle was added in the mid-13th century as a further flair of grandeur. The most important room in the manor was the hall, where guests were received and important events held. This was the main reception room and would have had a tall open timber roof. Benches would have surrounded the walls of the hall, with the dais and high table at the far end. At one end of the building would have been the service block, which would have contained the pantry and buttery, and a passage that led through to an outside courtyard. There would have been a freestanding kitchen also, with a boundary wall shielding the courtyard and visitors from viewing and smelling the kitchen. At the other end of the hall was a taller 3-storey chamber block. Above a vaulted ground floor were the family's private chambers and suites, with a mural fireplace. Not much remains of Weeting Castle, but efforts have been made to make good the remaining walls of masonry, so that this example of a medieval manor house continues to stand for years to come.
Sophie's doing her photos. I thought I'd show you. As you well know, I'm always quite a big believer in that the information boards, thank you English Heritage again, because you're coming up trumps on this, provide some really important information, because I often believe that when you visit a site, whether you're with family or friends, if the information board can provide you with enough information, then it will give you more of a sort of appreciation for the site that you visit, and also it helps work out your imagination. What we're looking at is technically 3 separate sections, although it's sort of 4 in a weird way. So you've got this sort of section which was services, then the massive squared rectangular section is the hall, and then obviously that's the brick wall. Well, that's the wall that divides, because obviously it's flint, if you can sort of see in there. Then you've got the chamber block, which is where we started from, and we'll go back to that. And then in the corner, which we're going to take a look at just beyond that, is the guardrails, which obviously for most of you basically is toilets. And obviously this is all one ground level, and then at the back you've got 2 stories. It might have even been 3 from memory. So yeah, it's very, very interesting. What a beautiful sort of illustration and drawing that obviously helps us obviously sort of go through this, and it's just wonderful to sort of also note the moat, like I said before, that we were sort of being surrounded by as we were sort of walking over. It completely surrounded the whole of this manor house. Obviously it's labelled as a castle. Sophie, we were just sort of talking about the sections. and saying obviously Great Hall, chamber block, which is where we started, and the garderobe toilets at the back.
Oh, that's what that is.
Yeah, so we're going to have a look at that now.
Yeah, you can go in there.
Yeah, so let's go and do it. Come on. Well, everybody, I did have to check. It was 3 stories, this. Yeah. So, sorry, I've just had a massive hay fever sneeze. The wonders of exploring. So this is the chamber block, which is just obviously, like I said, where we pretty much started from, and then you've got your guardrobes. Which obviously, like I said, for people who don't know, it's a toilet block, really. Hard to imagine now, because as you can see, there's no identifiable marks that there would have been a pit. So there would have been like a little pit from height, and then obviously your servants or whomever would have had to have cleaned out the doodies later on, and obviously the guardrobe, you got to note that obviously within the guardrobe the idea was that they used to hang up clothes to stop the flies and all that sort of stuff. Was that right, Sophie? Always keep making sure I get up. Sorry? Yeah, flies and lice to stop them. Well, that's it. Not much here, but grateful to have the opportunity to visit it. And more importantly, again, I keep saying this, it's free. What's stopping you? Come on now. It's free. Get your butts down there, have a try if you can. Obviously, I appreciate nobody's going to do it, but what I'm trying to say is, if you do have an opportunity to travel and have the opportunity to sort of go and explore history, then come down to these ones. These are free. And although there's not much that's left, it doesn't matter. It tells a story. It tells an absolutely wonderful story. Oh, wind. A blue, beautiful, warm day. You can see the moat as well. Sorry, it's going to get a bit windy here. Not much I can do about that. I'll follow Sophie round. Ooh. Again, apologies, everybody. We are literally surrounded by the moated ditch, and you know it is deeper than you'd think. So it just sort of goes round, follows it around. You see a lot of those. Sorry, my voice went then. Hip
puberty.
Hay fever. And you see a lot of these on. If you look on old maps, you'll sometimes see moat. And they're not there anymore. Normally they'll just be like mounds or something, and you have like a rectangular moated ditch. And there's actually surprisingly a lot of those because they were manors basically, but most of them don't survive anymore. Predominantly sometimes due to the fact they were timber construction, didn't have the opportunity to survive. Also the connections within who they had connections with. In this case, I would say William de Warenne, probably one of the most larger than life figures that we had during the medieval Norman period especially.
Ooh,
sorry my love. But yeah, here we are. We're going to have one more look inside and have a quick scan around, and I think that's pretty much it. Do you agree? What do you think of it actually? We've not had Sophie's impressions.
I'd say not a lot here. It's only a few really walls, and actually English Heritage have said, obviously you can see, they've done some sympathetic restorations to keep it standing. That's why they did it, because to make sure the walls stay upright. But it's really cool. It would have been huge.
It's very similar to, now I know you got annoyed with me because I didn't give you the chance to go to that one once, in Hampshire, which was I did the famous coffin that got the illustration on it, and then I went to the manor that was behind it, very similar to this. Can't remember, I really apologise. How can I apologise for doing so much that I can't remember? I remember it was in Hampshire. You might be screaming at me, but very similar to that construction where you'd got the chamber and everything to one side. Grand Hall, that was the one that got those marble, not marble, but they had big pillars, and some of them hadn't really survived and some of them had. And then at the far end, which is the services, which is basically a polite way of saying kitchen, and where you'd have poultry and all that sort of stuff. So from Kent on, the way I announce things, sort of stuff, you know what I mean, birds and all that like. Yeah, but let's make a move, and we'll just do it. We'll do it in real time. So why not? So yeah, here we are back in the chamber. We can assume that that is a fireplace or something similar on our left. Wonderful art, yeah, because there's a chimney there, isn't there?
Yeah.
There we go. So, wonderful. Gives you a perspective of levels as well, so that's obviously the second level. You can also see a little sort of around the alcove there. And then you can see the square pegs at the top there, finger of doom, just about, which would have delineated probably a third floor. Which is what I'm almost certain they did say that there was a third floor.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and then beyond us, just through here and on the left, is your guardrobe section. Oh, what am I talking about? You've been there recently, Old Saw Manor.
Oh, nowhere near as grand as
No, nowhere near as grand as this, but similar in the fact that you've got guardrobe section, huge sort of vaulted sort of sections in terms of.
Well, no, it had undercroft and the family lived above it.
Yeah, but the fact is, it was a beautiful manor, is what I'm trying to sort of like
yes.
put in context of that.
Yes,
Sorry,
yes,
that's
yes.
my apologise for
Yeah.
not sort of like doing it in that sort of context. That's for people who live in Kent, by the way. Trying to think of an immediate type of comparison. Probably that, but not, if that makes sense. It's kind of very difficult to sort of like do that.
Yeah.
It's basically just to sort of say a glorified manor is what I'm basically trying to sort of say. There you go. Right, onwards to the Great Hall.
Yeah.
Come on then, I'll follow you around. Headlong into the wind. Wasn't actually meant to be on the weather forecast. Welcome to England, everybody, where the weather people lie.
I'm glad it is because it is hot.
Yeah, it's very hot today, but they weren't predicting as much wind today, so I was like, oh, it'll be alright.
Sun, rain, and wind today.
We have
Rain
on
this
our
morning.
many explores. We won't tell you where we've been, but obviously you know that we do record in bulk, so people of Norfolk are going to be very happy with us. I think if they like our channel, first off, they might hate it. But no, I don't like it anyway. And then we're in the Great Hall, which was used for entertainment, and obviously not only just entertainment but conversation.
Meetings.
Yeah, meetings and the like. And then, like I said, our services sort of block, which is hard to sort of picture even that, just beyond that. Because obviously you need that to be right next to the hall, so you've got the food straight away. All the food would have been locally sourced. And yeah, I really like it here. It's picturesque, it's beautiful, it hits the brief of what you want for medieval history. Church.
Really nice round tower church.
Really nice round tower church. Yeah, wonderful. Well, Sophie.
We did a one and a complete one today.
We did. Thank you so much for coming along with us. Hopefully you appreciate that. I'm just going to film a couple of little bits more for you just in case. We're here. Was that it? Anything else you want to discuss? No?
Hope you enjoyed.
Any more words of Phoenix history? Thank you so much for coming along with us on our mini little adventures today. So the castle is technically not a castle, but it is a castle.
Yeah.
You know.
But no.
We're just having a bit of tongue in cheek, aren't we? Take care, everybody. Much love to all of you out there, because history matters. I think it does on this one. We'll say it does. Come down here, visit it if you can. It's free, like I said. And anyway, we will of course see y'all very soon. Are you ready?
Yes.
Cut out.